trying something a little different again today. I've decided to show a bit more chest hair to see if it helps my views on YouTube. No, I'm trying to do. It's a bit of a hybrid here. I'm doing a bit of a scrolling video in my dribbling video, and it's not really intentional. I'm just playing about. But the reason is I want to talk about the Banshees of Inisherin, and I struggled without the information in front of me before because I wanted to remember names and I wanted to remember places. And dribbling videos, I don't really have time to sit down and build scripts and memorize them and stuff. So it's a little bit more accessible for me, or better for me, or easier. There we go. Easier for me to be able to just look at stuff as I'm talking about it. So I'm just going back and forth with these videos, but with the two series, scrolling and dribbling. Right, another thing that I will talk about briefly today is we just went out for a meal. That's why I've got a shirt on, and yes, my chest hair is out a little bit, so I apologise for that if you're offended by the sight of me, by the sight of a beast like me. And we had our 7-month-old, 8-month-old. He's growing every single day. 8-month-old baby with us, and it was hard. It was really enjoyable. It was my sister's birthday, but it was hard because he just is such a handful now, and I don't mean that in a negative way whatsoever, but he just wants to do his own thing. So you can't just sit him in the high chair and he'll just sit there and eat his food. You sit him in his high chair, or no, you can't even sit him in the high chair straight away. You have to hold him out and keep him out, and he'll shout at the top of his lungs in the restaurant, and he'll try and grab the cutlery and grab the plates and get his hands on absolutely everything, and he will direct his attention to absolutely everyone and almost request their attention back. But it's a brilliant experience. Today was probably the hardest one, and mostly that's because I think I took more of a responsibility of it today, whereas my partner usually does. Got through it anyway, and there are lots of pictures, and it's a memory to be had. We had South Indian food, I think it's South Indian, where you have dosas. There's a really good vegetarian and vegan South Indian restaurant in Leicester. It's won awards and stuff. It's called Herb, and he got his own little dosa, and it was just the dosa itself. It didn't have any filling, but they served it in front of him, and it was absolutely massive. And bear in mind, he's like an 8-month-old baby. Interestingly, they didn't particularly move stuff out of his grasp, so he easily could have yanked the plate off the table. But not everyone's going to be clued into how you serve food to a baby, are they? Especially because we do baby-led weaning. That's enough of Stanley for now, though. Banshees of Inisherin. Finished this the other day. I think it is probably considered to be the second best film of the past year in terms of award output. I don't really pay too much attention to awards, but I think All Quiet on the Western Front won the most, and maybe this was second. Maybe. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments, because I am eager to be enlightened on stuff like this. But it obviously has Colin Farrell in it. You know what? I don't have my Wikipedia page up here. It's easier for me there. It has Colin Farrell in it. Brendan Gleeson, who you will know the combination of the two from the film In Bruges. They're brilliant together in that. They're brilliant together in this. Colin Farrell is so good in this, and it's a very subtle role that he performs. Very different, and so different that I wrote this down, and it might sound weird, but it's almost like he has a different face. And that sounds odd, like what does that even mean? But truly, I believe that in many ways that is the role of an actor, to be able to put themselves in a film and you not just see Colin Farrell, but you see Porrig, I think his name is the name on here? It's got to be somewhere. They don't even mention the name on the wiki page, like, till God knows how far in. But yes, Colm Doherty and Padraig, yeah, that's what they call him. So yeah, he looks like a different person, or at least a different enough version of Colin Farrell that you can suspend your, what's that saying, that you can suspend your disbelief? Is that right? I think it is. That you can just be absorbed in the film without thinking, here's Colin Farrell doing this. He is fantastic in it, as is Brendan Gleeson. The film is, of course, directed, written and co-produced by Martin Mcdonagh, who also did In Bruges, I think, and In Bruges, probably pronounced that wrong, and I also know him very well for The Pillow Man, the play that he did, which is fantastic. If you ever see that in theatres near you, go and see it, because it's a very dark and interesting play, and I absolutely love it. So, who else is in it? Barry Keoghan. I hope I've pronounced that right, but Barry Keoghan, who you will know his face. And actually, I do have another tab up here with the actors on. So, oh, what have I done? Look at that. I've got a random tab up now. I've gone backwards as well. So, how can I do this? I can just drag it over. Oh, sorry, a little bit too far. There you go. Colin Farrel, Barry Keoghan, Kerry Condon, we'll stop about there, and Brendan Gleeson. And Barry Keoghan, I believe, won an award for it. Where is he? It achieved 3 wins, and this is 95th Academy Award. Is that the Oscars? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Look, Best Picture. Okay, 9 nominations. I'm not going to go through these because I don't really care too much, because I care about my opinion on this and your opinion, not on whether it won awards or not. It's not that interesting to me. But it seems to 3 wins from 8 nominations. Best Actor, Colin Farrell. Okay, good, because I thought he didn't get that much credit for it. Best Screenplay, and I think Barry Keoghan, he got. Oh, they both got. Gleeson and Keoghan got nominated. Anyway, enough of the bloody awards. So it's a very. They almost marketed it with the trailer as like a comedy. It's funny. It's definitely not a comedy. It gets a little bit dark, it's gloomy, it's quiet. Every now and then the quiet soundscape, this is like soft soundscape, which is what you would expect on an Irish island, which is where the film is set. In fact, quick plot synopsis. There's a little thing here. Do you know what? Are there spoilers there? There might be. So I don't really know how they do this with Wikipedia, whether they just whack the spoilers on there or not. But there were 2 friends, lifelong friends. Colm Doherty, his name is, and fuck, you know, the name on Podrick, man. Podrick Swillibain. Anyway, it doesn't even sound Irish, that, but of course that's written in Gaelic, right? That's how I don't know. They are mates for a long time before the film begins, and as the film begins, Colm decides that he doesn't want to talk to Podrick anymore. He says that he just doesn't like him anymore, and the film basically is this cycle of events where Podrick desperately tries to figure out why his mate doesn't like him anymore, and also to try to appeal to his better nature and understand why someone wouldn't like him, and this and that. And it is very funny in its own way, but it does take a dark turn about halfway through the film. I've always said that when I talk about films, I've listened to like Mark Kermode and also Simon, I can't remember the guy's name who does it with him, Kermode and Mayo, Simon Mayo, the radio presenter. I've listened to Kermode especially talk about films without giving spoilers in a way that really makes you want to watch them, and I would love to get better at that, because he makes me excited about films when I hear him talking about the films that he's watched on their new podcast, The Take, I think it's called, because they used to be on BBC and then they're not now, whatever. The History Isn't Important, one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to, and it's, for me, the best podcast about films. So I have to learn a bit how to talk about films better without spoiling it, and also while still giving you an interesting depiction of it. The film is... the Banshees of Inisherin is because it is on the island of Inisherin, I think it's pronounced, and which I think it says down here somewhere that name in Inisherin literally translates to the island of Ireland, rather. But how does it stand for me in comparison with All Quiet on the Western Front? They're completely different films. Should you even compare films that are so different? Do you even need to compare films that are so different? I don't think you do, so I'm not going to do so. Both are very, very good films. Wasn't immediately gripped by this film, but then any good film, any special film, like I talked about in the Rick Rubin video a while ago, with the scrolling video that I did, good art often throws you into a new a completely new experience. So it takes a little while for you to be able to build context around that experience, or contextualize that experience, or to manage to find a place for that in your brain. I don't know. I'm not explaining that particularly clearly, but the newness of it, of something great, will take you a while to get used to. So it might not seem great at the beginning. I think that'll do for now. You might get what I mean, but if not, go and watch the Rick Rubin video I did, the scrolling one, because that will give you a better understanding of what I'm trying to say there. Even there, I struggled a little bit, but I had the benefit of Rick Rubin's words, or as I found out recently, Neil Strauss's words, because he ghostwrote the book. I don't know if that changes how much I like the book or not. Should it? I don't know. Where can I go with this now? I really recommend you watch it. I think what I will continue to do is I will only talk about films that I really enjoyed. I'm not going to talk about films or books or anything that I thought were crap, because I don't see the point. I might talk about them briefly in passing, but I'm not going to make a video about them or anything. Banshees of Inisherin is great, and actually, sorry, I should also mention that Kerry Condon is really good in it as well. It's trying to think, is there anything else that I would like to mention about this film? The language in it is just brilliant. The script is written in a way where there is a lot of repetition of the words, like at the beginning where he sort of realizes, where Podrick realizes that Colm isn't talking to him anymore. He kind of has these various interactions with people on the island. Everyone knows each other because it's a very small island. And he has these interactions where they will say something along the lines of, "Are you rowing?" And then he'll say, "I don't think we're rowing." And then they'll say, "I think you might be rowing." And it just, with all the different characters, are you rowing? And he's like, "I didn't think we are rowing." It just goes on like that. And it's just, the repetition is brilliant. And the Irish accent, of course, is delightful. And it is absolute joy on the ears. And I mentioned the soundscape before being subtle every now and then because it is set, let me use my wiki as a help, at the tail end of this Irish Civil War in 1923 on the fictional Irish Isle of Inisherin, whose name literally translates, I said that already and I'm just trying to be clever by doing an accent. So yeah, on the tail end of the Irish Civil War, which was, we can click it, you know. We've got new technology here on the Dribbling series and Jack Washington's YouTube channel. We're pushing boundaries. It was a war between the Provisional Government of Ireland and the Irish Republican Army, the IRA, over the Anglo-Irish Treaty. And I'm not going to read any of that, but I think I'm probably like contradicting the page as I'm on it, but I think because I've read it a little bit before, it was between people who wanted Ireland to not be a part of Britain and those who did. Let's just pretend that's the truth for my sake, for the sake of my eyes, which don't want to read any more of this wiki document. What a lazy little YouTube creator I am. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, and hopefully I gave you some further idea as to whether you would like to watch The Banshees of Inisherin. I really think you should. I think it is one of the best films of the past year. I haven't watched that many, but that and All Quiet on the Western Front are both brilliant in their own rights, so go watch them both. I will catch you later, and I'm sorry for the werewolf in me. Pardon me, little nearly burp there, which I'm not going to edit out. I apologise for the werewolf in me coming out. Enjoy the rest of your day, whether you're at the beginning or whether you're at the end. I hope you sleep well tonight, and look after yourself, your family, and anyone else who you care for. Bye bye.